on the 7th of January, and President John Dramani Mahama was sworn in. Now, notably, during the swearing in, head of states, 21 head of state and a representative Ghana, that's 21 presidents from different countries, and about Ghana, witness say President Mahama swearing in. Now that's historic, because President Mahama first time 2012 during the swearing in, 8 in a buy, 8 head of state, that's 8 presidents and a buy, witness say Akufo the first one 2016, a year 9 head of state in a buy, into President Mahama second time yeah sworn in just 7th January 21 head of state in a buy, a record. Now the generate issue will be a Kahwasem our Ghana. Any Burkina Faso president, I friend Ibrahim Traore, Obaya no unim say on your sojani and we coup or Burkina na Western powers ne penational and I didn't want to baby into since Obaya president in 2022 baby I quiet Mali and Niger into the Mohano. It was like something else, and was about on the security in the buy on Okocha President Mahama to session into Yama Nipe Kasabi Nanona Honorable Mutala Muhammad, our Tamale Central MP, Okopi more a large show so a Pan African TV and a radio good or church Mudientia Emma Burkina Faso President Ahmed Traore or Timiba Ghana. And now relationship on the President Mahama won't
start with the matter of the inauguration of John Dramani Mahama. And I'll start from my left with Comrade Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed. Comrade.
Senator, good morning to you. Good morning to senior comrade. It's been some time now. Good morning to my brother, and good morning to your cherished viewers, and most importantly, the good people of Tamale Central. And if you permit me, I just want to thank them for their huge participation in the swearing in of His Excellency the President. I don't know whether there was any place people attended the swearing in than the people of Tamale. Several buses of people came. Alhamdulillah, they've all gotten home, safely. I know some are still on their way. We pray that they get home safely. Senator, and permit me also to congratulate His Excellency the President and the entirety of the NDC for this outstanding feat. It is very clear that, and I stand to be corrected, I don't think we have had any inauguration of any president under the Fourth Republic that attracted more presidents and heads of states than we experienced, last Tuesday. Several heads of states, several presidents. Some of the heads of states who attended were not even friends with each other, yet President Mahama was able to convince them to attend. It is very clear that President Mahama's persona attracts tremendous respect among his peers across the continent. And I say this because there are some of them who had problems with Ghana under the previous administration. And the problems they had with Ghana were never hidden. They made it public, even in their posture and actions, and sometimes public pronouncement they made about Ghana's, position with regards to what they had, whether nationally or internationally. A classical example is Burkina, when the former President Nana Addo made that reckless, statement in the matter of the relationship between the Burkina, president and the Wagner Group, and by extension had something to do with Russia. And I say this because, Senator, I don't know whether I made this statement on this platform. Our Committee for Trade, Industry and Tourism, we went to Switzerland on WTO invitation. Now, when we went, we had the opportunity to pay a courtesy call on the Ghana's High Commissioner in Switzerland. When we went there, and this was members of the Trade Committee, including Honorable Andiapia Kubi. And what I'm saying here, they would attest to that. When we paid a courtesy call on the Ghana High Commissioner in Switzerland, and we were Ghana Embassy, the ambassador in Switzerland, at the embassy we noticed one thing. Those who have been to the Ghana Embassy in Switzerland, you have 3 African countries sharing a common wall with the Russian Embassy, like 3 African countries. our embassies, sharing a common wall with the Russian embassy. And interestingly, among those 3 African countries, the Ghana embassy is in the middle. We went there, then I noticed something. I noticed that the wall, that common wall between Ghana embassy and these 3 African countries, the Ghana section was raised and beef up security. So I asked our ambassador why, and he admitted that they did that after the pronouncement of His Excellency the President on the matter of Burkina's association with Russia with regards to the fact. So they came, Ghana's portion of the wall, raised the wall and beef up security. So those who thought that statement was just normal underestimated how words matter and the effects of word in the international diplomatic balance. Now, so if you have that relationship between Burkina and Ghana to the extent that when the president traveled to Burkina, I think then as AU, was it ECOWAS leader, the Burkinabe president gave him a hostile reception. He never even shook hands with him. And people were actually hooting on the way from the airport to where they had the meeting. And then you had this president being invited and he agreed to come in person. It is very clear that President Mahama is a very unique president. Again, you know Mali, Burkina and Chad, the foster relationship they have with Nigeria because of Tinubu's statements and the position he took against the separate and individual state decisions that they have taken with regards to ECOWAS. Yet, they attended and they virtually sat at the same place. Maybe perhaps the international community could leverage this outstanding relationship President Mahama has with these African leaders to find some lasting peace to solutions and challenges confronting the sub-region. Another person whose visit for me stood out was the president of Kenya. What's the name? Ruto. Everybody knows that President Mahama is a very good friend to President Uhuru Kenyatta. When I was the Deputy Minister for Trade, we attended, in fact the President attended the inauguration of Uhuru Kenyatta in Kenya, I think his second elections. And everybody knew the warm receptions and the relationship that exists between them. Yet everybody is also aware the relationship between Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto, who ironically was his vice president, prior to the elections and even aftermath of the elections, and it continues. Yet still President Uhuru Kenyatta was not oblivious of the fact that President Mahama is a very good friend to Uhuru Kenyatta. President Ruto is not of any doubt because he was the vice president. Yet President Mahama is able to get President Ruto to attend this particular program. For me, is outstanding. So I think that apart from the pop and pageantry, apart from the outstanding organization, the setup was beautiful. And commendation to those who did the setup. The quality of people who represented, who attended. The Rwandan president is not a good friend to many people, but he was in attendance. And I think that for me, we need to appreciate what President Mahama is and who he is, and the fact that he's able to get all these people to come. Now, apart from the fact that these African leaders attended, for me, the content of his speech for me is something that we also need to look at. At least, Senna, the speech was not plagiarized. And for me, that is one very positive thing. Because some few years ago, we had the same inaugural speech, and 4 American presidents were plagiarized. It was an academic theft. And it is very clear that if we knew, we would have known the kind of administration that we were going to be subjected to. Maybe perhaps people didn't take cognizance of the fact that if a president's inaugural speech is pregnant with speeches of 4 American presidents, that for me was what they describe as coming events cast their shadows before them. It was unifying, and he himself indicated what he intends to do, and he summed everything to 4 key important points. Stabilizing the macroeconomy of this country so that the economy grows and jobs will be created, and the joblessness, the unemployment level of this country would be out. And again, the president, when he mentioned that he was going to rule and give Ghana, the people of this country, the most important, accountable and transparent government. People, you could feel that was. People were not just looking at the transparency, but the accountability. Accountability in terms of how people plunder the resources of this country. Those accountabilities are things that people are looking forward to. Look, I asked Mr. Musa Dankwa, I was on a sister program with him, and I said, perhaps it would be important for us to do a survey to assess the teeming number of people who voted President Mahama and who voted for President Mahama because they wanted President Mahama to investigate and prosecute those who plundered the resources of this country to the state in which we are. Maybe that will give us an idea. But if you ask me as just an ordinary person, based on the information I have gathered from people who call you, from people you meet on the street, I can tell you the majority of those voted for President Mahama voted for President Mahama. They want to see people who robbed this country to be prosecuted. Look, I've had a young man who walked to me and says, look, if President Mahama spent the entire 4 years investigating and prosecuting those who robbed the state and has not done anything, we'll be very happy. I went to buy medicine at the pharmacy. I packed my car, went in to buy the medicine. When I came out to sit in my car, the security man at that pharmacy came, Honorable, good morning. And I said, good morning. You people should arrest these people. You people should arrest 3 times. It tells you the anger with which the people of this country went into the polls. Look, Senna, I have no doubt whatsoever that President Mahama is going to deliver. I have no doubt. And I'm saying this because he is not coming to learn on the job. He has had the opportunity of ruling this country before. And the mark he left is very clear for everybody to see. President Mahama borrowed less as compared to what this government has borrowed. 50 billion, and that 50 billion included Prof. Mills' President Mahama's administration and President Mahama, Mr. Ate's administration. 50 billion Ghana cedis. And Senna, there are monumental projects to show. The Circle Interchange, the Pokwasi Interchange Phase 1, the Wichibilamti Interchange Phase 1, the Tunnel 3, University of Ghana Medical Center, the Bang Hospital, the Tamale Teaching Hospital, the Bolga Regional Hospital, the Wa Regional Hospital, the Faro Hospital. Mention them. The Eastern Corridor Rules, the Rich Hospital. There are monumental projects to the extent that every single region in this country was not excluded in terms of the projects that President Mahama executed with this 50 billion Ghana cedis that he borrowed. Yet this government borrowed over 700 billion Ghana cedis. And Senna, there is nothing to show for it. And when I say there is nothing to show for it, I'm saying it with all the seriousness. When the president appeared before Parliament to present the State of the Nation's address, he said certain things. For a moment I was wondering whether he was talking to the people of this country or he was talking to a different group of people. Agenda 111, he said they have delivered. When it is a fact, per report submitted in Parliament, that only 3 Agenda 111 have been executed. When the president also said that they have created more jobs than any other government. And I'm wondering, the statistics available, when they took unemployment at 8.4, and today it's moving around 17%. He talked about the fact that they haven't borrowed much. So I was asking myself whether indeed the president, the former president, was talking to the people of this country. One thing I know that President Mahama will guarantee the people of this country is sincerity in governance. Because sincerity matters. Sincerity matters so much. If you have a leader who is sincere, even in the most challenging circumstances, such a leader is a leader you should trust. Such a leader is a leader who should be given the opportunity to govern. I don't have any doubt whatsoever of the promises President Mahama made. And I'll say this. President Mahama promised of the 120 days of what he's going to do. Yesterday, a journalist asked me, when we went to the Central Mosque for the Muslim Thanksgiving, whether President Mahama will be able to deliver on that. And I says, wait and see whether he will deliver on those promises or not. If you look at what President Mahama is doing in terms of even the new appointment that is given, it is critical because of the circumstances. And I know we'll be discussing the energy crisis. Energy issues border one on energy, border on finances, border on legality. And some of us are aware. Even long before even the swearing in, President Mahama had taken steps to ensure that we find a solution to some of this. And when we get to such discussions, but it is interesting that in the eyes of all this, in the eyes of all the challenges confronting us as a people, and the fact that we have had elections where a president has won in a manner no president, no candidate ever won elections under the Fourth Republic in this country, some people still tried to find defects to what happened on the inauguration day. The organization of that program was not done exclusively by the incoming government. It was done by the incoming members of the incoming government and the outgoing administration. So if there is anything that people should have some challenges, because nobody had any problem with the setup, nobody had any problem. People were saying that the path through which, you know, the way to the inauguration was a challenge, and it is understandable. Even those of us who were members of parliament, we had to sit in buses, you know. So sometimes it is extremely difficult to manage some of the things that happen. President Mahama also made a statement for me that was profound, that those who occasioned the disturbances which led to loss of lives by people because the only crime they committed was that they were going to exercise their democratic rights and determine who they want to rule them, both in the 2020 elections and in the 2024 elections, are things he's certainly going to ensure that there is some investigation. And he reiterated same yesterday at the Central Mosque that failure to do so will embolden those who engage in such an acceptable act, and then it will deepen the impunity with which they can continue to do those things in the past. And when he mentioned that, you could see the tenderest applause that that particular statement got. I think once again, we just have to congratulate His Excellency, President Mahama, and congratulate the people of this country, those who came far and near, participated in the inauguration, and the fact that the statement he made was all embracing, the fact that the inaugural speech was something that ignited some hope, not just among people, but many African countries. I have monitored some, you know, media houses across the continent, and they actually eulogized President Mahama in terms of the speech that he delivered. It is our prayer and hope that all the promises that were made are promises that will be delivered. But one thing I will appeal to the people of this country: the mess we have been subjected to would need some time to be able to fix. And in the coming days, the people of this country would have a proper appreciation of the havoc that President Nana Addo and his family indeed occasioned the people of this country in every single sector of the economy. So don't judge me by my height. Judge me by the depth from which I began. And once you do so, I believe that people of this country would understand the challenges confronting us.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you just joined us, the mother of all talk shows, Alaji and Alaji, we're discussing the inauguration. Just when we were talking, we got this. Okay, so this just came in. It's an executive instrument that clearly paints a picture of the ministries that will operate under the John Mahama administration. And it reads Civil Service Ministries Instrument 2025, an exercise of the power conferred on President under Section 11.3 of the Civil Service Act 1993, PNDC Law 327. This instrument is made this 9th day of January 2025. The following ministries in the civil service are hereby established: Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Health, Ministry of the Interior, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Ministry of Roads and Highways, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Sports and Recreation, Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, and Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry. Okay, so it just says there. Okay, so that's it. Those are the ministries. As I just outlined them. So Ministry of Finance first. Okay, Ministry of Health, Ministry of the Interior, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, Ministry of Roads and Highways, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Sports and Recreation, Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology, Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment, Ministry of Works, Housing and Water Resources, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Ministry of Labor, Jobs and Employment, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture, and the Ministry of Trade and Industry. If you count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So 23 ministries.
You mentioned transport.
Yes, transport is in there.
Do you have mines? Because it's the Ministry of Energy and Green.
Yes, yeah, but I think there's Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, so which means it is to continue to be responsible for those aspects of the economy.
Okay.
So
it will take 21 days for it to mature.
Okay.
But I think that what the president did with regards to the appointment, realized that the 3 appointments that have been made, if this instrument matures, there will be some realignments of some of the ministries. And the reason is that the president made a promise that he wanted to have his entire team within a particular number of days. So if he can do this appointment, like the appointment is doing, once this instrument matures, then there will be some realignment. If not, he won't be able to, meet that particular promise that within 14 days this ABCD ought to be done. And I think that is understandable. The reason why I'm explaining this is that some may yes, it's okay. If an instrument will take 21 days, then what happens to the promises Excellency the President made that within this particular time he would have his entire team constituted? He can have them vetted, and the instrument, once it matures, the realignments, it doesn't need any vetting again, and that will take care of the
very interesting. If you